From group conflict to social harmony, how to lead across diverse and conflicting social identities. In this presentation, we will be going through intergroup leadership and the social identity theory to see how this theory relates to social identity and leadership, how it promotes intergroup leadership, and how it transcends through incompatible identities by fostering social cohesion. Social identity theory explores the psychological relationship between self-conception and the behavior of people within and between a group. People evaluate and define themselves favorably and also want to be evaluated favorably. The groups want not to only be different from others, but also better. Intergroup is then a struggle for status, prestige, and moral superiority. To help deal with the enormous diversity of humanity, the mind represents the social world in terms of categories. For example, Republicans, Latinos, and Hindus. These representations are what we know as prototypes. A prototype is a set of attributes such as the attitude, the way you dress, and the way we behave, which we believe characterizes one group and distinguishes it from other relevant groups. Typically, people in one group agree on prototype of their own group, and this is known as the in-group, and of relevant other groups known as the out-group. The social theory of leadership describes that most effective leaders are those who are considered by the group members to embody the group's defining attributes. So as seen through these explanations, the social theory of leadership describes how social identity actually influences leadership. We have seen that people take the lead in defining themselves as group members. Prototypical people are therefore disproportionately influential. In our scenario, we had to depict a merger between a European and a South African company. The following were identified as the merger challenges. We had a setting which created subgroup environments. There was a subgroup of unequal status, where one subgroup has majority status and the other subgroup had minority status. This is seen through the corporate cultures, the goals, and opposing behaviors. Secondly, in mergers, employees can become salient. This means that when they meet a stranger they know nothing about, or when they feel proud of their own group or despise a particular group, they automatically categorize people as group members and give them attributes of their prototype rather than treat them as unique individuals. Thirdly, we see that leaders typically come from one subgroup. This means that the superordinate group's identity can be seen as disproportionately being represented. Next, we are going to discuss the application of the video through the different scenes. The first scene is Bernard and Thabisa. Here we see stereotypical perceptions and biases at play about the different nationalities. We also see minority and majority subgroup at play, a situation which produces alienation and a sense of disidentification. This not only alienates, but it disenfranchises the minority, which may ultimately destabilize the group. Secondly, Thabisa and Tshepo. Here we see a correspondence bias, where it causes a follower to build a charismatic leadership personality for their leader. The perception of charisma on the part of the group further facilitates effective and innovative leadership on the part of the prototype leader. They have also subgrouped the new leader as belonging to a group which she doesn't belong to by assuming because she is foreign, she won't be able to understand the South African employees. Thirdly, we have Tshepo, and Tshepo's characters is that of a prototypical member. Here, he finds the group more central and it's very important to his self-definition, and he identifies strongly with it. He has a strong and greater investment in the group, and thus more likely to behave in ways that seek to serve the group. We also have Thabisa and Vuyo. Here we see the two ladies being salient. They are categorizing a stranger they know very little about and feel proud of their own group. They are treating her like an embodiment of all foreigners rather than an individual. This is known as depersonalization, which is also seen in how they see themselves as the embodiments of Xhosa women. Lastly, we have Loshni, our CEO. The main objective here is to construct a superordinate identity, which does not threaten the status or existence of subgroup identities. This is done through her greeting the people in their languages, her relating to them on a personal level. Subgroups then feel that their identities are genuinely valued and preserved. This promotes a multiculturalism and also tries to build a cohesive society in which diverse ethnic groups preserve their ethnic identity. In our last slide, we're going to speak about how we can transcend incompatible identities and improve intergroups. Taken together, all these ideas suggest that an effective leadership hinges on the ability to forge a shared identity that embodies a single vision and common set of values, attitude, goals, and practices. This shared identity is made from multiple identities representing different social groups, not just individuals, that not only differentiated themselves from each other, but also quite often would distrust and despise one another. More often than not, being an effective leader and having effective leadership involves being an effective intergroup leader, meaning being able to construct and promote overarching superordinate identity that transcends the subgroup's identity without making those subgroups feel like they are losing their own distinctive identities. Thank you for your time. We have come to the end of our presentation.